So the course again is financial modeling. In our first class, we've looked at what it is. What is financial modeling? We've then also looked at the benefits that comes with learning financial modeling and how it is applicable in many industries. We've also looked at the components of a financial model, and we said basically there are three models. There are inputs. Hope you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Input, assumptions, and output. And output, you would probably need to set up your input are basically the label. So if I say items and I say something like price, and let's say price is 20, and then I do a calculation. So these are my items. This is my assumption, and then this is eventually my output. But we could have multiple assumptions. You must know that. So it's very possible that we have another one that is something. Maybe this is price, sorry. And this will be the items. And this might be the unit, let's say unit here. So if I have items of mango, I have cashew, I have pear, these are all my inputs. All of these guys, I'm going to change their color now to this. They are all inputs. These are all inputs. But let me just write input here. And these guys are assumptions. So I'm just going to do the assumption and I'll change the color to. By the way, colors are very important in analysis. It tells a lot of story. I like you to do theory of colors in finance. I would like you to take that as an assignment, the theories of colors in finance. So you understand what colors are applicable to what. Please make sure, and next class on Friday, ensure you do this assignment, very important. So I have price, this could be 20, unit or quantity could be 5, this could be 6, this could be 1, this could be 5, this could be 2. These are all assumptions. And then the output is the formula. So if I'm doing this times this, that becomes my output. So we talked about that in the last class on the 3-part, your input, your assumptions, and your output. And then we began looking at lookup functions. And we started by looking at logical functions. Logical functions, we talked about things like and, we talked about or, we talked about other logical functions like sum, if, and all of that. So I will quickly take a recap of some of these logical functions. Sum, if, count, if, because we need this to do we start building our model. Count, if, average, if, and round. So we'll see this. I will go through this one more time. And then we now also talked about lookup functions. We talked about V lookup, about X lookup, and then so we talked about V lookup, we look at H lookup, and then we look at lookup itself. So I might not be going over this because we already talked about it, but we need it. We need this. So I will just go over some of these things in a few minutes so that we start up. Now, sum if is used to perform a calculation based on certain conditions. Sum if this is this, that's what it means. So for the sake of this class, I'm going to go open up a data set that is quite robust that I believe we can use to talk about the idea of SUMIF. So I'm going to my business analysis folder and I'm going to be opening up a folder called Cs. Yeah, Cs. Okay. So like we said, SUMIF could be used for different, please take notes, take some jottings, right? Take some jottings. We might use SUMIF, maybe you want to perform summation based on a condition, right? However, while you are doing this, some of the use case could be that you only want to add the debit, or you only want to sum the credits, or you only want to sum a value that is within a particular range. You could use SUMIF, or you possibly want to sum based on certain criteria. So let's look at some of this. This is a data set that has date, day, month, year. So I'm going to automatically remove these three just for clarity. And of course, I'm going to send this data set to you so that you have access to it and practice. The last class I did for the data set, and I believe you already do have the data set. So um, these are profit. This is our profit. So I want to be sure that I'm going to check if we have a loss here. It says profit, so let's see if we have a loss. I'm going to go to filter and I'll click here, and you notice that we have some minuses, right? Please, I'd like you guys to respond. Can you see some minuses here? Hello?
Yes, sir.
All right, so minuses signifies losses, right? So you see that we have some losses right here, but the column name is called profit. So regardless, it's recorded as profit. So there's a negative profit and there is a a positive profit. So if I was doing this analysis right now, I'll be looking at I'll look at something called negative profit, and then okay, so we might do negative profit dash minus the E. Okay, if we're not going to do that, we'll just probably we'll do loss. I don't want to go into how you can solve that problem. Do loss, and then we'll go into profit. Okay, so here now I'm going to do I'm going to add the cases that are negative. So I'm going to do something like sum if, right? So sum if. So I'm basically saying sum all of this. That's why I clicked on the column is M to M because this is column M. Sum M to M. Now remember that it takes three argument, the range, the criteria, and the sum range, right? So I would use the two arguments, range and criteria. Also, don't forget that I did mention that if you have a criteria that is already an argument that is in square bracket, it means it's optional. So in this case, we have range, criteria, sum range, but the sum range is in square bracket. So excuse me, please. Okay, yeah, so sorry for the break. So particularly, I'm doing sum if. I only want to add the negative ones for the case of my loss. So I'm doing sum if M to M, and then that's the range. The criteria is if the value is less than zero. Less than zero because um anything that has a minus is less than zero. Is that true, Amaka?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's safe to say less than zero, and I can sum this, and it gives me that I have a total loss of 410 naira, whatever currency I'm using. Again, please, anytime you're doing any analysis, especially that has to relate to financial modeling, it's always a good practice to have your currency sign. Hence, it's not going to be complete. It means that that analysis is missing something very crucial. So I'm just going to add that for the sake of this, for the sake of my explanation, so that you always, anytime you pick up an analysis, always ask them what currency we're analyzing in. If those with that currency, please do add them. Makes quite a lot of sense. Okay. And notice that once you change it to Naira, the data type here changes to accounting. If you check here now, it's general. If you check here now, it's general. So this will now be obedient to the rules of accounting. What it means now is that if you have a negative, for instance, I'm just going to do only this. Notice how it is. There is no negative here. It's negative right after, before the Naira. Okay, so that's going to come up. Okay, so it's important you put your currency symbol. So this will probably also have the currency symbol if we want to. But let's just continue. So this is my total loss, and I want to get my profit. I could say sum if I wanted to sum this only if. So what do you think I can do now to get the profit? What's the criteria for the profit? What's the criteria for the profit? Nobody's talking. Amaka, what's the criteria
It
for
is
the
greater
profit?
than zero.
Amaka, do you agree with that? Hello, Amaka, you still with us?
Yes, sir.
So the profit is going to be that which is greater than zero, because we said loss was less than zero. So anything above zero, it means it is already a positive number. So it means it's going to be a profit. So, and then we see that we have this as our profit. Of course, if you convert this anytime to right click on it and go to format cells, and you can go to accounting and click down, scroll down until you find a do. Those right here, and you could change this also to accounting. So this is about 32,222,510 naira, something like that. So this is how you could use SUMIF. But that's not just the use case. Um, if you notice, when I clicked on SUMIF, notice that there was also a third one that says sum range, right? So this is something you will not see in regular Excel class, but we are doing financial modeling, so we should understand this. Now, if I want to use the third option is now remember this. Sorry, when I use the first option, I only did some from M to M, add it if it's greater than zero. But sometimes I want to use this to get this. For instance, I want to sum the profits for Canada, for instance. Profits made for Canada, right? Now I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to say sum if I'm going to say from country column, that is E to E, if the country is Canada, comma, I want you to sum the profits that belongs to Canada. So what I did, I said E to E, which is the country. Canada is what I'm specific. I want to get profit that is accrued to Canada. And then I can click my this. And this is just for Canadian profit. This is strictly Canadian profit. Is that clear? Can I get your take on this?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand what I just did now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Miss Grace?
Well understood, sir.
Very well. So you see, there are two options to using your sum if. Is that you are using two arguments. In that case, you are saying sum this column based on this factor. That is one. In the second place, I'm saying using this factor, sum this other one here. Are you getting me now? So we can do that, but that's not all. If you also notice that there is some if and there's some ifs when you have multiple criteria. So let's say we want to use this some ifs. It said sum range, criteria one, criteria range one, criteria range two, criteria two. So now let me understand. Let me make you understand this. This result we got here, can somebody explain it to me? What does it mean? What's the value? How do you explain this to somebody? This value here. How do you explain it quickly? I want somebody to do that quickly. The result. How do you explain to somebody? What value is that?
That's the profit for Canada.
From Canada.
The profit for Canada. But if Canada had a loss, you also agree with me that the loss will be deducted from this.
Yes, sir.
Is that clear enough? So this
Yeah.
is not a now. How do we get losses for Canada? Just the loss for Canada. Because what we have here does not capture the losses. It basically captured the profit. So it means that if Canada made 5 naira and then made 10 naira, made 5 naira, made 10 naira, and they had a loss of 5 naira, it means that it's going to be 10 plus 5, 15, 15 minus 5. then it's going to return the profit as what? 10. You understand that? Right? That's what we are going to have. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But in a case where I want to get just the losses, or I only, because in reality, Canada did made profit of 15 naira, right? And made a loss of 5 naira. So because the loss is there, it's making it look as if they only made a profit of 10 naira, whereas they actually made a profit of 15 naira and loss of, okay, let's not treat in case of loss. Let's assume this is a debt. The country is currently servicing the debt they owe, about 91 billion, can't remember, $91 billion plus. Now, that they are servicing the debt may make it look as if they are not making enough income. They are not generating enough revenue because we are paying back our debt annually. So we need to understand the dimension where some if come. We use some ifs, that's the one that have the S, when you want to check for multiple criteria. So let's say we want to find pure profit. Pure profit. Let's see if it is true. There might not be a loss. I don't know if there's a loss anyway, but let's see. I'm going to do some ifs, some, no, some if. Then I'm going to choose the second one called some ifs. The sum range is what I want to sum. I actually want to sum this. That's what I want to sum, comma. The next one is criteria 1, comma, criteria range. Criteria range 1, criteria 1. So I'm going to say criteria range 1 is if the country, comma, is actually Canada. That's 1. And if this column, comma, is greater than 0. Now that's kind of weird, but I hope you understand it. What I did here is not saying, okay, uh, remember the condition. First of all, sum range, what you want to add. Well, I want to add this. But the condition is that E to E, which is the country, must be Canada, and that this M to M must be greater than 0. This is pure profit. Does that make any sense?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure? Please ask me a question if you are unsure of what I've just done. Any question?
No, sir.
Ife?
Sir.
Yeah?
No question, sir.
Oh, very good. Very good. Smart people. Okay. So profits that you don't, when you have profit without removing your loss, in finance, we call that the gross profit. Now, these are terms you hear in business when we said, what's the gross profit? If somebody can be making a gross profit of 30,000, let's say 10 million naira in a month, but that's gross. That's not the actual profit, because by the time you factor in all of the losses, he's making a deduction on rent, he's paying staff salary, he's doing machine maintenance, he's doing a lot of other things. Eventually you will no longer, you've discovered that the actual profit is not just what you see. Are you getting me now? Are you getting me? So gross profit is profit without loss, without deducting the loss. And then we have another one called the net profit. The net profit is profit after you've removed losses. So let's say we want to find the net profit. I mean, let's say we want to find the loss. Please help me. How do we do this now? Sum ifs. What will be the first argument to select? The first column to select?
Sir, if we are looking for words, please, I didn't hear
I'm
you.
looking for the loss in Canada, for Canadian people, the loss, only the loss. I want to add all the losses together for Canada.
It's still going to be that profit, but if it is less than 0,
Profit, and then my criteria is what now?
then Canada.
Which is
Yeah.
E to E, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Then we are focusing on Canada, comma. Then what else?
If it is less
If it's
than,
less
So I
than
will
0.
still click on this M and say if it is less than 0. So let's see if there's any loss. There is no loss. There is no loss in this case. Now, however, like I said, please do understand that your net profit is profit you get after removing your losses. Is that clear? So you understand how SUMIF works now, because this is very important. You need to understand it so that we can make progress. Is it clear enough?
Yes, sir.
All right. So if you understand this, SUMIF, count if, average ifs, they are all the same thing. They are all very similar in their operation. SUMIF, there is also, just like we also have average, we have average ifs. Average ifs. Can you see it there? And that's for multiple condition. We also have count ifs for multiple counting. Okay. I could do, we also, when you do your count if, you also see count ifs. This is used to count based on the same condition, just exactly like we have used count ifs, just like we have used this criteria range, criteria, criteria, it's counting. So we are not some, it's counting. So I can say I want to count this based on this, where this is this and this is that. Okay. So you can use all of that to do some counting on by yourself, and you get the idea. Okay. So that's the idea I wanted to share here. But just for the sake of clarity, I'll just take an example on count if before we'll do some review on VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP quickly. So let's see how that works. So for count if, I could just say, okay, how many Canada do we have in this data set? This data set is actually massive. We have 113,037 or so. That's massive. So I might just want to know how many Canada I have, how many um how many sales do I have from Canada or something like that. Let me just put the question like that. So I'm going to do something like count range. So I'm going to say from country here, if the country is Canada, right? Remember, my Canada is in quotes. Please also take note that my Canada is in quotes, because the text, I've been putting all of them in quotes so far. And it said total number of 141,078, right? 1,400, 141,078 thereabout. So that's what we have for total number of people from, or says from, Canada, right? But also you might want to check, okay, how many people are from Canada that let's say product now. What kind of product we have here? We have access, we have bike. So how many people are from Canada that uses bike? So I can say Canada says of bikes. Canada says of bikes. In this case, I want to count them. Okay. Okay, so I want to count total sales that was made from Canada based on bikes. So in this case, I'm going to use count CONNT count ifs. So criteria one is that the country is Canada. Criteria two is that the product category is bikes. As simple as that. Criteria one is E to E, and is Canada, because E to E is where the country is. Criteria two is G to G is bikes. If I do this, I'll get 1548. These are the number of sales occurrences for Canada. So I just wanted to see what the count ifs and some ifs really do represent in your analysis. Is that clear enough?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So now that we understand how to use the count if, the average if is the same thing, and then we did the round. I don't need to go through that again. We already did that. Then we looked at lookup functions, VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and all of that. Now, VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP are very practicable. They are very useful, and I want to strongly encourage us to use them in our analysis, because we're going to use them a lot in financial modeling to pick up value. So, just like the name implies, when you talk about lookup, is that you are using something to find something. You are looking for something based on what you have. I mean, you could have a dog and you're using a dog to sniff the footpaths of a criminal or something. You are using that dog to look up for something. So it's called lookup. So you are basically searching for something based on a value that you already have. So you want to use your product name to get a price. You want to use your product ID to get a price. You want to use country to get something. You can do that, and it becomes really, really interesting. So that's where you use your lookup. So we're going to see how that play out. But just for the sake of clarity, I'm going to do a bit of what lookup really is here. So let's set up a little sales dashboard. So let me give some spaces. I want to, though this data is not very adequate for illustration, so let me find a data that is close enough. Let me see what we have here. Okay, it's loading up. I want to show you how the lookup function works and how you can use it to get values when the need arise. I'll just do one more exercise immediately after this. What's the data set? It's not loading. Oh, okay, I just saw a data set here that I feel I could use, but it's not in the public domain, so I can't use that. So let me just stick to, oh boy, this guy is not coming up now. It's just loading.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
You said it is not for public domain. Like, is it like what you're trying to say is like is not meant for public eyes or what?
Yes, yes. I'm actually working on a data set that wow, it's open. That you're not supposed to see. So that's what I mean.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Because eventually this whole lesson is going to go on YouTube. Subsequently, we could always have our student to go watch it even after a class. So it means it's going to be there for everybody at the end of the day. For paid people, anyway, it's going to be private. So it could go a long way. When the client sees, he might not be happy about it. So all right. So I was gonna do a VLOOKUP, right? Okay. Okay, guys, just give me a sec. Let me find data. I have very wonderful data set for VLOOKUP here. So I'm going to do complete data set. Just very quickly, that I should have opened that from the beginning somehow. Okay, so like I said, so we have VLOOKUP, we have HLOOKUP, we have XLOOKUP, and then we have, so this is what it is. Um, for instance, I want to be able to get my price. I want to use my price, my product name to get the price. Let's say the product name is body lotion. This might not be very applicable because we only have just 20 product or 19. But in a case where I have over 1,000, 2,000 products, it's always good to set up a price lookup dashboard. So I want to get the price of body lotion. I'm going to say V lookup. I did this the last time. The lookup value, that is the value I want to use to find the other value. That is my product. The product name I want to use to find the price is in F4. The entire table array is all of this, a comma, and then the column I want to return in this case is price. Now, if you look at it based on my selection, product is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, and this is 5. So it's on E, which is 5. But please don't use E and say E is 5, depending on where it is. If this whole data set were to start from G to H, you see start counting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Amaka, what column do we have the price? What's the column number we have the price?
E.
E. I need a number,
I'm
not the
sorry.
alphabet.
4. Column 4.
It's 5. There's actually a column D that is empty, does not have anything here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that clear now? 1, 2, 3, 4,
Okay, yes.
5. So I'm going to put my 5 and I'll put my comma and I'll choose exact match, which is false. And then I'll get the price. Body lotion is now 133.5, which is true. If you check body lotion, it's 133.5. But the good news is now that I've set my dashboard, I could actually change this to face cream and hit my enter. It will also give me the price. So face cream is here, and you can see it's 338. And if somebody comes and says I want to buy skin gel, I'll just type skin gel and I hit enter. It gives me the price instantly because I have my model set. Now, I just want to be sure that you understand this logic. I'm going to tweak it a bit. So I'm going to take all of this. I'm going to move it to somewhere here. So let's talk about dashboard again. And this time we're looking for iCarja. Don't know what that is anyway. So I want to do my VLOOKUP. Amaka, what's going to be my first value? What's going to be my lookup value? Actually left the class. What's going to be my lookup value? If it was my lookup value.
Sir, I Kaja.
I Kaja, thank you. Comma. What is my table array? That's all of this, right?
Everything. Yes, sir.
Everything. Then the column I want to return this time is the price. So what's the number of what is the column index number?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Where are you counting from? It's not actually 9, it's actually 5. That's what I wanted to find out. It's still 5 because based on my selection, this was all I selected. So looking at all I selected, this is Ofu, Abo, Ato, Ano, Isi. This is like Okon, Eji, Eta, Henry. I know. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because this is just all I selected. Don't start counting from here. That's why I said I need to tweak this a
Okay.
bit so that you guys don't miss it, right? You start counting from what you selected. So it's still going to be 5, comma, and then it's going to be exact match. And that should give us the value. I Kaja, where are you? I here. See, it's 227. So we got that right. 227.94. So that is how you set up. And of course, the good news is we could always change this value to hell gel. And we have 444.84 hell gel, which is right. We would also change this value to skin toner. And fine, it gives us the value. So that's a short on lookup. I've just done VLOOKUP and that's good.